Hi everybody, I'm Tony E at Show IP Interface Brief, and today is day 27. Day 27 is the title of this video. However, I'm not counting this as one of my study days, and that's because I actually didn't execute any studying today. I instead did some prep. I did a lot of lab prep, which was actually, I was going to say physically prepping the lab, but there is no physical work here other than me clicking around on the keyboard. There's been some physical prep, I guess logical prep, me just getting everything ready and everything geared up ready for tomorrow so it can run smoothly. Because if anyone remembered on my very first Saturday that I streamed live for a nice long 7-hour stream, I spent the first 2 hours trying to get the lab to work. And it was very embarrassing to fail miserably on live stream. So since then, I've taken the foresight to spend my Friday nights prepping the lab for tomorrow. And everything seems to be working just fine. And see, all I do is I don't look at the material beforehand. I don't prep. I try to make sure everything is fresh for me. When I open up the consoles and the material on Saturday morning, it's the first time I'm reading it. So what I do is put in the initial configs as required by the topology or by the taskings or task requirements, and then I just open up each console and make sure that the IP addresses are at least configured. That kind of just tells me that that the initial configurations, the startup configs, have taken. That's it. So you guys, any old timers that are out there with me, and for all you newcomers, I'm a little bit old school. I rely on paper topologies and paper. I print out the requirements here. And that's because I don't have an extra screen. So some of you know this, some of you don't know this. Everything that I do, all the videos I make, all the labs I build, everything I do is all done here on the Service Pro 4. I really enjoy it. It's really a great piece of hardware. It works well for me. I bought this about almost 3 years ago, about 2.5 years ago, to replace a giant 17-inch, bulky, 27-pound laptop. It was a wreck. And I was doing, at the time, I was getting ready to do some work where I was traveling from data center to data center. So I bought this guy, and this has been my everyday rider ever since. However, with that said, this is not like something like I wouldn't buy one for my grandma. Okay, go get your grandma a Chromebook. I got my grandma a Chromebook. This is not something I would give to someone who doesn't want to work through the subtle nuances of trying to work with a touch screen and all the other adapters you have to make things work. Sometimes laptops are just better for that. But for me, being mobile, this thing works great and I love it. So everything I do here is on the Surface. With that said, I do have a dock for this Surface, which I've put over to my right. And from it, I have like the microphone and the scene switcher and some adapters and things. And I did dig up over to my right is an old, dusty, dirty monitor from the basement. It is one of those square monitors. It's a flat screen, but it's a square. It's like the 4:3 resolution or something. And so I do have that off to the right. So for tomorrow's live stream, I'll be able to put the Discord and the YouTube chat over there. So hopefully I can be a little bit more interactive. Most of you guys know, in fact, like right now, I can't see any YouTube chat if there is any. Whoa, that's crazy on this screen. Trying to get it so I can see on this screen. Kind of just testing this for myself for tomorrow. Let's see how that works. Well, that'll have to do. So I got the chat over there, and I can open up Discord, I think, and put that over there as well. I think I can. I'm telling you guys, I've mentioned it before, but sort of putting together these streams and doing this work is not easy. I really need 3 screens for this, if you ask me. The best setup, I think, for streaming is probably 3 screens. One to keep up with with chat and interactivity and community over on one screen, what you actually want to display, what you're working on, and maybe in the middle, and then maybe a feedback of exactly what's being shown or what's being recorded or what's being streamed. Anyhow, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked because I'm still trying to set things up, getting them ready for tomorrow. So anyhow, so I got the topology printed. I got the tasks right here. I won't look at them till tomorrow. I do have the lab. It is ready. I did want to point out the freaking lab topology here. Let me switch over so you guys can see what I'm talking about. You can see here the CPU utilization is 77%, and that's crazy with only 14 images. 14 images, that's 10 routers and 4 switches for the Foundation Labs. It's the same topology as the regular advanced, what is it, ATC, advanced technology course. What do they call it? Advanced technology, CCIE Advanced Technologies. And I'm running the VIOS images. And that's because that was a topology that was built by a guy who shared it on his blog. And I had the workbook, so I went ahead and downloaded the configs. And it's been kind of a conversion process of getting all these labs to work. This was not something, I mean, it's not hard to do, but it's certainly time consuming. And that's why I try to pre-stage as much as I can. In fact, one of the things that spent some of my time tonight was I tried to pre-stage the troubleshooting lab that I'm going to aim for to do next week, next Saturday. If tomorrow's lab is successful, I'll try to shoot for a troubleshooting lab. The troubleshooting lab is 20 routers, so I had to kind of build that one from scratch, and I can't imagine what my system is going to do with 20 routers when right now I have 14 devices. So I'm really thinking about doing the conversion over from the VIOS to IOL. And the problem with that is the initial configs are built using gigabit Ethernet interfaces and having to switch that over to Ethernet. Now, I know it can be as easy as a find and replace, but there are like things you have to watch out for, like, you know, tunnel interfaces that use tunnel interface source, or anything that references an interface from within the config needs to be migrated and adjusted as well. So sometimes you end up, when you just kind of, in my experience as a networking professional who's used the old Control-H, find and replace a lot in my life, if you blindly do a replace all and you click it, you will be troubleshooting a problem. Okay, that's why anytime that I do find and replace in a config file, I actually take the time to do next, 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 and just click each one so I can actually see what it's changing. Because what'll happen is it'll actually bump somewhere and you'll see something, you'll be like, whoa, that's actually not what I want to change, and you'll skip that one. So take that as a pro tip, okay? Do not ever in your life blindly use the find and replace and the replace all button. Never do it. There are other tools that can scrape text files more intelligently than find and replace. So use another tool, but if you're using Notepad or something like that, definitely kind of go through the config and find each thing, even if it takes you a minute. I'd rather spend a minute verifying the things that I want to find and replace than spending 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour troubleshooting something that was screwed up in the config. Okay, so I'm readiness for tomorrow. I think everything is a go. I'm going to get started on my lab tomorrow at 9 a.m. My wife is taking the kids out all day tomorrow, so I'm going to be starting at 9 a.m. She said she'll be getting ready to leave at about 9, so that'll be my time to start. And I'm probably looking to go all day, so we'll probably wrap up at maybe 5. I think 5. I mean, we'll wrap up when the lab is done. I imagine it will probably go till 5. Looking at this topology, it looks like a really fun topology. A lot of good routing protocols in there. I see a little bit of switching. This looks like it's going to be a fun lab. I'm sure it's probably going to kick my butt, but it looks really fun, so I'm really excited about it. Okay, so let's talk about some changes going forward. I think I spoke with my wife tonight, trying to get my personal life, my work life, and my labbing life, my CCIE prep life, all on the same page, on the same order. And I think after Labor Day, which she told me is in the beginning of September, I'm going to be switching my lab day from Saturday to Sunday. So if anyone has been missing me on Saturdays because they work on Saturday, or they have, they're doing something on Saturday, something scheduled on Saturdays, I'll be moving to Sundays in September. Okay, and looks like I'll probably stay on Sundays until further notice. So that's just the way it's going to be. Saturday will probably end up being my cheat day, or maybe I'll actually do a cheat day on Monday. I think more than likely I'll probably do a cheat day on Saturday, because I like to have one full day a week with the family to take care of things here around the house and such. And also going forward, I'm really thinking about making the move to IOL for all of these labs. It just runs way more efficient. Even when you start up a whole group of IOL images, they start up and the CPU utilization does not spike like the way this is spiking now. Even when you start up just one VIOS image, it goes to 100% and it's just pegged there. Now that just may be my system, because this is running on an ESXi server down in the basement. And when I say server, I mean an old Dell PC, literally a tower PC. It has 16 gigs of RAM and it has a Core i3 processor. And I run this VM and lots of other VMs on it as well. So it has no problem chugging along with that, but I don't have any more resources I can spare for EVE-NG. I'm running EVE-NG, the VM unrestricted, so it can consume as many resources as it wants, and I think it has 8 gigs of memory dedicated to it. And I don't think I've ever gone and hit the 50% utilization for memory. It's always been CPU that spikes. So looking forward, I kind of want to move to IOL to make this easier, because the troubleshooting lab is going to be 20 devices, and I don't want to have to fight hardware to make that work. I just want the labs to work to give us the best experience possible. So with that, kind of looking down range means that I'm going to have to put in the effort to convert the configs for 20 routers. And it's just something I'm going to have to come to grips with. Other than that, I think the subjects that we're going to be working on throughout next week are going to be determined by the results here from doing this lab tomorrow. So if anyone wants to, it's last minute, but if anyone wants to jump on and do the lab with us, there's a group of us here on Discord. In fact, I don't even have the chat up, so if anyone's saying anything, I can't see it. There's going to be a group of us getting started labbing tomorrow. This is the Foundation Lab 3 from the CCIE Routing and Switching V5 workbook from the INE. I think that workbook is $2.99, and if you use the new 10 promo code, you get 10% off. 10% off is pretty good. I highly recommend it. That's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I'll be prepared to spend all day. I think that's it, guys. I was going to say, moving forward for next week, the topics of study are going to be determined by what we struggle on in this lab. Okay, whatever are my struggle areas is what I'm going to be working on next week. But I think also I'm going to squeeze in a couple of topics to sort of blend in the things that I've already been doing, which is OSPF, OSPF authentication, and various DMVPN topologies. So I might sort of blend those three things in a lab and work one of those and share that out next week. So if that's something you're looking forward to, let me know, and I'll make sure I can get that built and we spend the night on that. Otherwise, that's it for me tonight. I will see you all tomorrow, bright and early, 9 a.m. See ya.